Gold Squad TV. All right, man. So the Knicks. Where do you see the Knicks this year? I think they took a step back this year, and I'm gonna tell you why. Tom Tibs is a defensive coach. He's a defensive coach that relies heavily on veterans. They have a lot of veterans on that team, but here's the problem with the veterans they have, right? They re-signed Nerlons Noel. I think that's a good signing, right? That was a great signing. I think that was great for them to re-sign it. And I believe they still have Tasha Gibson, who's a veteran that Tom Tibs trusts. Shouts to Tom Tibs. He's from around my way, but you know, he tends to trust on those veterans kind of almost to a default. They re-signed Derrick Rose, which is good. I think Derrick Rose is a great re-signing. I think that's great for them. I think here's where they fucked up. They let Reggie Bullock go. Reggie Bullock is a good, decent three-point shooter. He's about 27 years old. Played both ends of the floor. He wasn't going to give you a lot of points, but what he gave you was spot-up shooting when he needed it, when they needed it, and he was also a really good defender. They let him walk. And they signed Evan Fournier, and they signed Kemba Walker. Now let me get the Evan first. Evan is a decent player. At 28 years old, he's a decent player. Get the three, it score. Here's the problem with Evan. Let me talk offensively first. He's extremely streaky. I watched him in Orlando and I watched him in Boston. The problem with Evan Fournier offensively is that one night he'll give you anywhere from 15 to 20 points, maybe even give you a 30-point night every now and then. But there are more nights often than not where his shot's not hitting. It's not going in. It's not very efficient. It's not very, very efficient. And for some strange reason, I never thought he was a good fit there. Now let me explain to you why I don't think he's a good fit there. He can't defend one-on-one. He's not a good one-on-one defender. He's a horrible weak side defender. What does Tom Tibs grind his gears on? Defense. Tom Tibs has a zero tolerance on players that leave their weak side guy open, that lag on defense, and gamble. Like Foreigner is a decent gambler, meaning he'll try to go for that steal. He'll try to strip you every now and then. Sometimes he'll be successful. But more often than not, he's not. He has a tendency defensively to lag. Joe Harris had a game in the regular season against the Celtics where Fournier came in, and mind you, he was just, a week removed from COVID-19. But once you're on the court, there's no excuses. He left Joe Harris open, looking, just staring at him, not running at him, do nothing for at least 8 of those threes. The only other three that Joe hit that wasn't on him was on Kemba Walker, who obviously is undersized and has bad knees, so it's hard for him to rotate. So you left him open. You left their best three-point shooter open. And Tom Tibs has a very much zero tolerance towards that. He will pull the plug on Evan Fournier real quick the minute Evan does that. And Evan did this shit in Orlando too. It's not like this is who Evan Fournier is. Evan's gonna play for the offense, and that's fine. But he signed a huge deal to play for a guy who's a defensive-oriented coach. And Evan's not very athletic compared to today's NBA players. He defends with 2 left feet in a lot of ways. Can't defend laterally. And if you don't think that players are not going to go out there to attack Evan Fournier when he's out there, you are bugging. There are plenty of guards, 2 guards, shooting guards, combo forwards that have quick feet, they're gonna attack. They're gonna be like salivating at the point of attacking. You know what I mean? Now let's get to Kemba Walker. I want to make this quick because I got to get ready for my day job. I made a video last night about undersized point guards, and I'm going to lead that to that. But when it comes to this, the reason why I don't think Kemba Walker is a good fit for the Knicks is simple. Tom Thibodeau runs guys into the floor. He runs guys into the ground. He's from hard hitting for a reason. He runs guys into the ground. And what's Kemba Walker's impediment? He can't play back-to-backs. His impediment is he's got bad knees. If he says his knees are good, eventually they're not going to be good by the end of the year. You don't just get better at 31 years old, going on 32 with knee problems. Eventually your knees go out on you. If he had that 1 day of rest, it'd be cool. But the thing is, he's not being asked, as far as I know. I don't know if Tom's asking him to be star point guard or if he's going to have D Rose be the starter, which I think D Rose at this point in his career is a little more healthier than Kemba Walker. If I'm Tom, I think Tom's going to have Kemba come off the bench, be a spark plug off the bench. But even then, he can't defend laterally. Not that this is his fault. He could take charges, but you already know what's going to happen when he's on the court. People remember, like, get him. You already know for a fact that you can't defend outside of taking a charge. He's another one that's going to probably try to gamble every now and then. But he might show you glimpses of the old Kemba every now and then, but he's not quite there anymore. He's aging, and he's short. And Tom's not going to start him. Like I said, if Tom starts him, you could say goodbye to Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker will be playing in China next year because he won't be able to stay healthy. And Thibodeau's just going to run whatever little bit left in him out of his body. So, you know, if you're the Knicks, did you really get better? Now, you still got Topin. He's there for his second year. Obviously, Juilus Randle was their best player. But you've seen how he got exposed in the playoffs, which is probably why they went and got Evan Fournier to begin with, which I don't think is even actually a good move. If Reggie Bullock could do the same thing he did, probably to a lesser extent. They won 50-something games last year. Almost 50 games last year. Actually, they won 40 games last year. I'm thinking it's a full season. They won 40 games last year. You know, with Reggie Bullock being their go-to when dude would get double teamed. I actually think the Knicks are in trouble. If they're also a bunch of an aging team. A lot of guys on that team have injury history. So it's kind of weird to see how that roster. The only guys that are younger really are Topin, R.j. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and Mitchell Robinson's always hurt, and Kevin Knox, who probably never going to see the day of light in the Knicks uniform ever again. So I don't know what else to tell you, man. You know, like I think R.j. Barrett takes a step up. I think Randle still has a good year. But I think ultimately when it comes down to it at the end of the day, when you think about team, you know, roster construction, I don't know if I like this Knicks team this year. They caught everybody by surprise last year. You know, I don't think teams are going to be surprised with them this year. And like I said, Tom Thibodeau has a tendency of fizzling out in places, and players fizzling out on him. So we'll see what happens. Gold Squad TV, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.